A little bit more.
Yeah, this is high-speed steel cutting just an old nail blank, so we just want to make sure it keeps it oiled up, get it all taken care of. We're only taking a couple thousandths pass at a time. But we're getting pretty close to where I want it. Okay.
Let's take a look at it.
That's right. So that's the wedge we made. So we're going to cut it off back here at this mark. I was just going to cut it halfway, but then I wouldn't have as much of a wedge action. I'd only have the one angle. But I was looking at this. This is an old concrete nail or masonry nail. And I was looking at the angle and I was like, well, that's really good. So I'll just cut it kind of right down the middle. Hold on a second. One of the heaters in here. That's so much better, I'm sure, for you guys. So I was going to cut it just straight down the center and then just cut it off, but then I would lose the second angle.
Okay.
Which would then only allow it, like if this is a 30-degree taper on both angles, if I just cut it straight, that only gives me 15 degrees. So by cutting this angle steep, leaving this angle good, when I cut this off, I'll drive this side against the stock, this side against the bolt, and that'll bring it over. So we just got to go cut this end off here and we're golden.
Let's do it.
Alright, so I cut the shim off, put the last piece back in here. No, I didn't. Right here. So we cut the piece off that I need to make the wedge. Now I'm just going to square up this face, because even though we'll never see it, it's in a gun. So I want it to be precision. I want it to be more precise than Bill Geisley's Black Friday problems.
We're still going on.
So we need to drop down some here. And we're just going to clean up the face here. Clean up the face. I'm going to drop it down a couple thou. Run this up a little bit faster. All the way. That little spark off was the little bit of this nail that just got so hot. So we'll put a little bit more oil on it, drop her down some more. And I'm going to do one more little pass to clean it up, and then it's done. Go across, stop it, raise it up, and I got one little tab, one little booger to pull off of it, but that'll just pull off with a pair of tweezers. So, a little booger right there, we'll just pop it off. There it is. There we are. Okay, so let's open this back up and look at this monstrosity sized piece that we're dealing with here. Man, that's huge, isn't it? Oh, my goodness. We need a bigger mill. So there's the piece that we need. I need to get this cleaned up. Get it cleaned up, de-oiled. So I'm going to spray it with some brake cleaner here. Oh, it's not even in frame. Spray it with some brake cleaner that I have right here real quick. Just because I want to make sure that the Acraglass bonds. Well, poop. There went all the degreasing. I want to make sure the acrylic glass bonds to it. So we're just gonna clean this up with the degreaser. Okay, and that's ready to go. Dry it off. We're golden. Okay, now let's get the stock in here, and we will work on getting it tapped in location. Make sure everything's golden, and we'll be good to go. Alright, so here's the wedge we made. Basically, we put it right down in there. I could have made this a little bit thinner, dropped it down a little bit farther, but in all honesty, it's fine the way it is because we're well below the surface of the bottom of the barrel channel. So what we did is we wedged it down in there, and we got the rod. You know, the rod stayed steady, and we did move this entire stock over. So now this wedge is in there tight, but what we want to do to make sure that this doesn't move is to go ahead and glass this entire mess into one solid unit from all the way up here back into here, and just run the glass down in here and get it all cleaned up, and we'll be done. Worst case scenario, like I said in the part 1 video, I can always come in here with the mill and clean up the bottom here, because you can mill acrylic glass. So it won't be any big deal if I need to come in here and clean up the bottom, just to clean up the bottom and get it all taken care of if I have a free float issue. So I guess we're going to be back. Well, in fact, before we go back, let's show you the finished product of me putting in the stock, or putting the stock on the receiver, and then we'll show you the free float out on the fore end. All right, so now that the gun is in the action, we got the bottom metal on. So before, we could not free float this. It's really hard to get the proper angle for you guys with the camera. So basically, understand that we've moved the fore end. It's now completely free float all the way to right there. And like I said, I'm going to work on that as far as with the mill. So what I'm worried about right now is just free floating this fore end out here, because this was definitely not like this. I've got probably 10-15 thou worth of play here. It's good to go. So that's, you know, job accomplished, mission accomplished, I guess, because we definitely couldn't do that prior. So I guess the next part of this video, we're just going to go ahead and show you while we're bedding in the whole rest of this mess.
There you go. Go.
All right. So now we're just going to fill in. We've got the wedge in there. You can see how far over. Use the back of this stick. How far over this came from the center. Like, this was touching the edge, so we moved it over a good bit. Now we do have a little bow into this piece of steel, but we moved the whole stock over exactly the way we wanted to. So now I'm going to use this wonderful piece of bamboo rod. I need to make sure that we get this material
underneath that wedge,
like everywhere. I want to make sure it's down in the cracks and crevices. I don't want any spots, you know, left unfilled, because like I said, a big part about this is also stabilizing the fore end. It's not even so much as, you know, fixing the left and right, because there's more than one way to fix the left and right as far as the bless you.
Ooh.
There's more than one way to fix the left and right as far as, you know, putting this wedge in. You know, you could have easily just used an inletting rasp and rasped it in, which would have been just fine. Nothing wrong with that. But doing it this way, we also are going to ensure that we stabilize this whole fore end so it won't bend and flex on us when we put a bipod on it, or, you know, in the field, if we lean up against a tree or something, we're not going to, you know, move the fore end, potentially throw our shot off because our barrel channel is touching the barrel. Looks like I made almost the perfect amount of acryglass for this. Because once I get this put in with this, we're gonna jam it in there. We want to make sure it's in, you know, as good as we can everywhere. Because like I said in the last part one, acryglass for what we're doing is cheap. Make extra. Now don't be afraid to waste a little bit.
What you said, like $15? You said for the
for the 2 little containers of acryglass, it's like 15 bucks. If you go on Brownells, I really like Brownells because I mean it's their acryglass. I mean some people say that like DevCon's better, but honestly I like acryglass because I know what you can do with it. So like, I just like the stuff. So it's not like, I think it's more of a personal preference. Now let me get one of my lollipops here so I can even this out down inside. For all you dads out there, never throw away your children's projects when it comes to lollipops if you're a gun guy, because eventually these lollipops will come in handy. And by golly, they're coming in handy today. Because we're just going to splotch that right down in there. Get that filled in. Now I'll come in with a paper towel and clean all the edges up there while it's soft. And of course you can come in while it's soft. You can come in while it's soft. You know, when it's just starting to harden, and you can scrape it all off, it's going to turn into a it'll turn into like a puttyish, I don't know, almost like a jello, you know, feeling stuff. It feels like natural rubber when it's just starting to get so hard. And you can come in there and just clean all that up and get it all squared away. But again, like I said earlier, I'm not worried about using too much, because I'm going to come in here with the mill if I need to and clean up any proud acryglass. So that's pretty much it. That's going to sit for the next 24 hours. In fact, I'm not even going to put this gun back in the stock for probably 72 hours. So you asked in a previous video how long does it take to set up, and the answer is it'll be workable and malleable for like 45 minutes, but it doesn't reach maximum hardness for 72 hours. 72 hours. So that's the answer. If you want it to be absolutely 100% hard, 72 hours is the magic number for that. But it's workable within 24 to 48. Like that's when you can go shoot it and stuff like that. Some people don't suggest shooting it at all for 72 hours, but that's up to you.
So is this a good excuse when I got my when I had my 30-06 split by Paul? And it took me 3 weeks to go get it.
Yeah, you just wanted the acryglass to be.
I just wanted to make sure that thing was hardening up for 3 weeks before I got back to the rifle.
Yeah, it wasn't that you were just not ready. You were just your acryglass. You just want to make sure it was completely set up.
Yeah,
I mean,
3 weeks hardened.
It's perfectly acceptable, and I put a little lime in it right there, so I'm going to straighten that back out. I mean, you have plenty of, big thing with acryglass, you have plenty of time to work with it, so don't be
impatient. Or
yeah, don't crap yourself and freak out that you have to get all this done all at once, because I mean, look at that, it looks almost perfect. And I am by no means a professional, but you know, that I'll hold the stock in there, that looks pretty darn good, you know, and that, you know, accomplished exactly what we wanted. So like I said, you know, if at any point I do have a couple high spots, if it's on the bottom in here, I'm going to go ahead and just go in with an end mill and clean that out. Just route it a little bit. Alright, so apologize for the interruption. My wife was talking about baked steak for dinner because I'm not fat enough yet. So anyway, as I was saying, yeah, don't freak out about the dry time on this. The acryglass gel has a good work time. I think it's 45 minutes or so. So don't be in a hurry. Don't mix all this Acroglass all at once. Acroglass will bond to Acroglass. So don't think, like, you can do this in third increments if you want to over the course of 3 days. You know, if that's all you feel comfortable mixing and doing, that's all you have to do, right? So once I come in here with the mill, if I need to, and clean up the bottom here, if I still have any clearance issues, I can always come in here with a rasp and an inletting rasp and clean this up. But that's probably not going to be an issue. I'm not going to do that until later on, because I have a gray bow bottom metal I'm going to put in this action, in this stock, and I got to inlet it for that. But what I plan to do is pillar bed this as well. Drill these out, put in some pillars. But I'm going to raise the entire stock. I'm sorry, not the stock. I'm going to raise the entire barreled action up 16 thousandths of an inch. When I put in, and I'm sorry I can't flip this over, but when I put in the bottom metal, I'm going to inlet the bottom metal 16 thousandths deep, and then that's going to bring the bottom metal in the pillars up an additional 16 thousandths, which will raise the whole thing, but still keep the clearance between the bottom metal and the action that I need. So I'm just going to try and do that to preserve this fore end as much as possible. I'm not the best at woodworking, so I prefer to inlet and raise the whole thing up than cut on a nice factory inlet. So anyway, guys, that's pretty much all we got for right now. This is part 2 of the fixing a warped stock video. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and shoot them in the comment section. If you saw something that I did that you would have done different, again, I'm up to suggestion. I am an amateur at this. I am a hobbyist. So if you're a professional gunsmith, you know a better way to do it, by all means, let me know. I'm always up to learning. If you're just going to troll me and you've never done this before either, but you theoretically know the knowledge, cool story, bro. I don't really care. So do me a favor, and put some constructive comments down there, and I will be happy to read and reply to them all.
Alright, guys, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe for all your latest firearm convention videos. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
See ya.